This is WFYI News Now. It's May 14th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, a $550 million investment in Indianapolis from a Swiss biotech company. The Indianapolis Housing Agency presents its 12-month plan. And activists and residents are asking the state to reduce water pollution coming from BP's Whiting Refinery.
And instead, this has just been a kick the can down the road indefinitely thing here, going on 20 years of excessive mercury discharges, and it's time for it to stop.
Those stories coming up, but first. A recent operation in the Middle East may have uncovered the remains of a slain humanitarian worker from Indianapolis. The effort was undertaken with the cooperation of Qatar and aims to recover the bodies of people killed by ISIS. It is possible that some of the remains recovered may belong to Abdul Rahman Kasig, formerly known as Peter Kasig, an Indianapolis native who became an aid worker in Syria. He was captured by ISIS and executed by beheading in 2014. A full analysis to confirm Kasig's identity has yet to be performed. The Swiss biotech company Roche announced plans Monday for a $55 million expansion of its Indianapolis diagnostics and manufacturing hub. As Ben Thorpe reports, the investment will happen over the next 5 years.
The global biotech company says the investment will go towards making Indianapolis a hub for manufacturing continuous glucose monitoring systems used by diabetes patients. There are roughly 38 million Americans living with diabetes currently, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and those numbers are projected to increase. The company says the investment will create hundreds of manufacturing and construction jobs while also increasing access to diabetes management tools in the U.S. The company announced earlier this year it would invest $50 billion into the United States over the next 5 years. The Indianapolis announcement is part of the company's larger U.S. commitment. I'm Ben Thorpe.
The Indianapolis Housing Agency on Monday presented its new 12-month plan. The initiative aims to better internal operations, improve property upkeep, and restore the struggling agency's reputation. The plan, coined A New Day in Better IHA, has 5 focal points: operations, finances, people, properties, and safety. IHA CEO Yvonne Bean says the plan will hold the housing agency accountable.
We're okay with being held to the fire. We want to be transparent. That's a part of restoring the relationships.
IHA will also be selling several of its multifamily properties, including Blackburn Terrace, Beechwood Gardens, and 16 Park. Bean says the properties will remain affordable so the families can continue to be housed. With looming federal cuts to HUD, Bean says future funding is also a challenge the organization will have to overcome.
We are definitely in uncertain times, and we're talking through and trying to ensure that we don't have families that are left behind.
Technological advancements, in-house training, and the development of a balanced budget are among some of the key initiatives included in the plan. And for our final story today, activists and Northwest Indiana residents are asking the state to reduce water pollution coming from BP's Whiting Refinery. Its permit is up for renewal. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel reports activists say the Indiana Department of Environmental Management needs to do more to protect people who are getting their drinking water from Lake Michigan and visit its beaches.
Among other things, the Environmental Law and Policy Center says BP has been allowed to release more mercury than what's required by Lake Michigan water quality standards for years. If the permit gets renewed, it'll be nearly 20. ELPC's Rob Michaels says this was supposed to be a temporary pass while BP worked to reduce its mercury levels, but little progress has been made.
And instead, this has just been a kick the can down the road indefinitely thing here, going on 20 years of excessive mercury discharges, and it's time for it to stop.
Exposure to mercury, like eating contaminated fish, can damage your brain and nervous system. Activists also want to see BP update pollution control technology and monitor or set limits for dozens of toxic chemicals likely getting released, things like PFAS, benzene, and arsenic. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
IDEM says it will respond to comments when it issues the final permit. In a statement, BP said it is committed to safe and compliant operations at the Whiting Refinery. 2 years ago, BP paid out $40 million in a settlement for air and water violations at the refinery, including a record-high civil penalty for air pollution. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.